My name is Sean Muhammad, and I am the Marietta Study Group Coordinator for the Nation of Islam here in the Southern Region, under the leadership of our Southern Regional Minister, Student Abdul Sharif Muhammad. Of course, and we are all under the guidance of the Honorable Minister Louis Farrakhan. And Mike Lowe, I'm pretty tall. All right, and we had the case that Brother Joseph was talking about introduced to us. Sister Tamika Upkins, her husband has been incarcerated for something that he has not done. And not only has he been incarcerated, he has been given life without parole. His sentence has been so egregiously exaggerated that there are people who have done mass murders that have received lighter sentences than his. And there's been no actual fingerprint evidence, no actual lineup evidence. And so there's this story that Sister is going to tell you is going to be very, very strong, very heart-wrenching. And we here at the Nation of Islam, we absolutely are here to support her. And we first learned of this story from New Order organization founded by Gerald Rose and his organization. So we're staying together with Sister Tamika for her husband, and we pray that with your support we can get this out to the public, more into the public, and get some justice for our brother. So I'm going to bring up Sister Tamika. She's a bit nervous, but you can imagine the pressure she's under. This is her husband, the man that she loves, father of her children, who has been taken away from her, not just for a couple years, but potentially forever. You know, so if you could listen with an open heart and open mind to our sister. Here she is, Tamika Upkins.
With the mic.
Take your time.
Thank you.
Take a deep breath. You'll be all right.
On February the 15th, 2010, my husband was given a life sentence without parole for armed robbery. The facts of the case are the detective never did an investigation, never did a photo lineup. The witness, the victim who was in the case, was allowed to come to trial 2 years later and identify my husband, but they never did a photo lineup. He was the only black male in the courtroom, average Bill. The detective also stated he didn't have to do an investigation. He had who he wanted. They got my husband's name from another perpetrator that actually gave them his name. Someone had went into the evidence shortly before trial, and this same detective that accused him of armed robbery came and re-fingerprinted him 3 times, 4 months before the trial was to start, saying that they had to make sure they had the right person. I was threatened with perjury if I gave my husband's alibi. My entire family that witnessed my husband being in our presence during the time of this armed robbery, his alibi was never disputed. They could only say there was no factual information given. The only thing that was supposedly had been left at the scene were some checks, which no one ever identified my husband as having on the fingerprints on the check. GBI, the fingerprint expert that I hired, no one could say that these were my husband's prints. The attorney during the trial, while she was during the trial, she also noticed there were a lot of inconsistencies in the story, and she is also helping us fight this injustice that's in Douglas County, Georgia. My life has been turned completely upside down. Our first child, his first child, he had to hear being born over a jail telephone. I am the only child that's available to help my mom. She's suffering with pancreatic cancer. I'm a mother of 5. I'm trying to work, hold down employment, see about my husband, 5 kids, and keep my household together. I have moved from a 3-bedroom mid-income life to a 1-bedroom with 3 kids that I'm still trying to support. Just keep fighting for my husband. And I'm just still mentally and emotionally going through the ringer And this case is just not going anywhere. I have a paid attorney, which he's not doing anything for me, and I gave him all of his money up front. Since my husband's been incarcerated, I think I've been out about $50,000 to $75,000. And I just need help. I want to make you all aware of this case.
All right. One of the things that I want to share, Sister Tamika, we are empathetic to the problems that you're going through. And given all the facts, we concern black clergy, we will do what we can to let the people know. But here's the thing, when you have out of the territory of problems, like Douglas County, right, Marietta,
Yes, sir.
even though the Islamic folk bought it here, but you have clergy in those areas. And you have clergy in those areas. Case in point is when we had a problem a few years ago down in Columbus, Georgia. We got the clergy to meet together, and they signed a memorandum of understanding with CBC and all the organizations to come to Columbus, Georgia, and we went down there in droves. So when these problems come up, you got to first touch the territory where you at. Bring the clergy together. There's still religious tolerance where many of our Christian organizations do not want to work with Islamic organizations because of ignorance.
Amen.
Theology.
So therefore we must work together. So give us all the facts. Write it down. Write the facts down, and we can sit and meet together and review the facts, and in other words, we've got to organize. Then we got to sit down and strategize after the facts are written. Don't you think I make a good lawyer? And then once we have that, then we can mobilize. Because your problem is the problems of many, many black families in Georgia. So if we can deal with your problem, we might be a calling card to get Georgia to look at the other problems. Are y'all understanding what I'm saying?
Yes, sir.
So once again, we empathize with you. But in order to take action, we must organize, strategize, and mobilize, and concerned black clergy be willing to sit down with you and work these things out. Dr. Jones.
Yeah, I listened to what you said, and my heart went out to you, really. I have a son in jail, so I know how that is. But the case has been adjudicated for the Cobb County Superior Court, right?
Douglas County.
Douglas County. Oh.
Okay. Well, number one.
Let me finish up, Mr. President. It has been adjudicated. Have y'all filed an appeal?
And I've been, since I've been president, working with a different organization. I'm glad NAACP is here this morning, because we cannot fight the community problems by ourselves. But when we come together, get rid of the backbiting and the criticism, and working together, we can solve any problem, to include managing elections.
That's right.
And exposing crooked attorneys.
That's right. That's right.
So anyway, Brother Rose.
First of all, when I first got this case, I did talk to Ed DeVos, phone conversation, saying that her husband's innocent.
What are you talking about?
When I first met Ms. Upkins, I did talk to Ed DeVos on the phone, and she reached out to him first saying that her husband's innocent. Then I did reach out to the Rainbow Push, my question why no one has moved. I had a chance to look at the transcripts. I talked to both her attorneys, and both her attorneys said there's some loopholes in the transcripts. And like Reverend Cabo said, it's all about unity and mobilizing. So I am there with her, and I just don't get involved in anything. But when I talk to attorneys face to face, one of us ain't doing nothing. Scared of Douglas County, that's my first question. But anyway, we need to go ahead and assist this lady. And again, I'm just concerned, and God be with you. You know, and she's a part of New Order. She's strong, but again, her facts is true, because again, I did talk to attorney myself. But just the fact, numbers is powerful. Thank you.
We appreciate your remarks once again. please hear me.
Join.
We sit down and talk about the situation with Rick, write the case out
Yes, sir.
so that we know what we're doing. Like baking a cake. In order to bake a good cake, we got to have a recipe. And then we'll be able to move forward in a joint effort. And maybe within NAACP and Rainbow Push, some good folk there. But and the people's agenda is the fact that we have written documentation. You can talk all day long, but nothing to get done. But when you write it down, we meet together, organize, and then we can, from the written documentation, we can strategize, and then we can mobilize the full community on taking action. Because once again, your problem is thousands of black family problems across the state of Georgia. And when we come together, we can make things happen. You are in our prayers, and we'll do what we say. Just follow through and work with us. Is that all right?
Got a question?
Yeah.
What we gonna do?
No, we can beat this dead hard to death. Is it pertinent, brother Doug?
I'd like to issue a challenge that I voiced for the last 10 years, especially to the gentleman standing beside you. He is a social scientist. He worked in Marietta, Cobb County, Douglasville.
Listen.
He knows better than I. And I was born and raised up there. I'm 58 years old as of yesterday. Our preachers are scared. They will not move. We call that scary out. In order to organize the preachers, and I've been trying for the last 10 years, especially for the last 5 years, just to get CBC there to talk to them. I was successful only once, and that's when you came out and addressed them at Turner Chapel over there. Now with this gentleman, I say again that we've got to have a social movement against the preachers. And if I've insulted anybody, I apologize, but I will not back up. We've got to get our preachers out on the carpet and make them be who they say that they are. And to solve this case and others, it will not happen until we challenge those who are in leadership. And it must start with a social scientist. Anybody else ain't gonna move it. Too much money involved.
We appreciate what you shared with us, and we'll move in that direction. And what you're saying, we cannot get all scared folk together. We may not get all scared folk together, but those of us that worked in the civil rights movement, we didn't wait on getting everybody together. We did with 2, 3, right, Brother Harris, 3 or 4 until they saw what was happening. Then they joined forces with us. So those same still in it. Let's give them a hand and move.